Welcome back to the show, everyone. Craig and Jonah here, and we have a little guest. We'll see how long she stays quiet. If there's some strange noises in the background, it's because our youngest, who's being held by Jonah, just may grow tired of this. So until that happens, we're going to power through this. So I told Jonah the other day that I thought I had sort of the 3 or 4 part plan to more Catholic intimacy. And it kind of is sort of evolved over time, but then it sort of came up in a recent conversation with my wife, who, is a very wise person, knows everything, and listens to this podcast. So, hello, honey.
So it's just 3 or 4, though.
I think it's 3 or 4. 3 and 4 similar, but let me see if I can.
I think it's universal, though.
I think this is a huge framework, and it's a real framework for,
right,
especially if you're Catholics, anyone, but
it's important for the world to hear it then.
All right. So here you go. So number 1, the wife has to believe or understand that intimacy is a need, quote, need.
Yeah, at least important.
Yeah. And we're actually going to do, I think, an episode on that concept, but it's a extreme importance to the man.
That's true. And I think that's fair to say too. Like when my wife and I first talked about it, she had no idea how important it was.
Yep. So however you want to describe that, it requires the wives to understand the level of importance that this is in her husband's life.
Yep, I would totally agree with that.
Number 2, both spouses, but including the wife, has to essentially not want the man taking matters into his own hands.
That's true too, because if she doesn't care
and he doesn't care, then none of this matters.
Yeah, that's true.
But if they do care, and as Catholics, we
should care.
We should care and should worry about our salvation or whatever. I think that has to be like that has to be established and understood by both spouses.
Yep, totally agree.
All right. So number 3, 3 or 4 could go either way, or somewhat in either order is fine. But number 3, and this is the one I think that's really important, is you guys, you gotta like take the mental load off your wife when it comes to the kids.
Yep. And chores,
household chores, but all the stuff that goes with being Catholic family, where you got kids and just chores and stuff like that. Like that is, I think, probably the number 1 barrier to intimacy in really any marriage, but especially Catholic marriages.
They're all kind of equal, I think, but I think they're all definite barriers. I totally agree. I mean, just by the end of the day, I mean, if you're taking care of kids and doing the household stuff all by yourself, I can see how that wears you
out. The other day, so look, before I forget, let's get to number 4. And number 4 is similar to, is kind of related to number 3, but it's you need to understand and do your best to feed your wife's love language. For my wife, it's quality time. She needs me to be there and to listen to her, to be attentive, put down my phone. I'm not saying I'm perfect at this, but I'm conscious of it.
We're all working towards perfection.
Yeah. Some of us are just a little slower than others. But so you gotta feel that love language, whatever that might be. If your wife, if your spouse likes acts of service, number 3 is going to be sort of taking care of that. But if for my wife, it's quality time.
For my wife, it's probably both of those, acts of service and the quality time.
Some are like
accuracy is part of 50-50 or something.
Yeah. So figure out what that is. That package together is a huge component, I think, of really quality and quantity of good Catholic intimacy.
Because the quality time together is something that might not be obvious to a man, because it's not the quality time that you think of.
Yeah.
Like you think of, at least like just spending time together, watching a movie or whatever, but that's not what it is. It's just talking with her, essentially.
And listening, really, just
It's listening. Yeah, you're right. The less talking to, the better. But
Yeah.
just about the details of her day, and that's really important
Yeah.
in a way that I don't understand because I can't understand it. But that's just really important.
It's so important. It was really the missing link, I guess, in my relationship with my wife for so long. It took me a long time. Doofus had to figure that out. But now that I have kind of figured out, I see it. Like I see. All right. Well, that's the end of the. Are you okay? You're okay. All right. So she just had enough. Here, let's do this one. Here, you want that? No. All right. Well, we're trying to distract the youngest. So those are the four. Okay. The other day I was talking to my wife, and I suggested to her, I says, well, now that we're back on the whole NFP thing where we're having to abstain for enormous amounts of time by my estimation.
And not that you weren't on NFP before, you're just in
right. Right. All right, you come here. Here, I'll turn the key. All right. There. I don't think you can see the little glimpses. I says, well, for me, for a long time, what I really struggled with was during, you're abstaining for 10, 14, sometimes more days during the fertile times. And then in the infertile times, it felt like we weren't doing it very often, maybe a couple times. And then I said, I kind of think I developed PTSD during that time period. I said, do you suppose we could like increase the frequency during the infertile times? That would help motivate me to get through the fertile times without mess ups. And she didn't say no, but she's like, in the past, it never felt like you were doing enough to help with the kids and stuff like that, which it's hard to judge that. I thought I was trying, but
perception is reality.
Oh boy, you're right. You are right. Keep the baby out of the screen here. So
yeah, it's true. So you got to do more than you think.
Absolutely. Whatever you think if you think you're doing enough, double it.
Yeah.
And then double it again, and then double it again.
Yep.
So that's what I learned. We'll see.
Then maybe you'll be so tired you're not interested in the end anyway.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So we'll see. That's my theory.
It's fair advice. All that is great, though. I mean, that definitely will improve your marriage.
I'm convinced that's the lion's share of.
And part of that is communication, and part of that is just acts of service as a husband.
That's right.
And those are both difficult things at times.
That's right. All right.
Well.
Okay. Well, stay tuned as I try to implement this a little more. I'll let you know if it works or not. So
we look forward to hearing.
All right. Thank you, Jonah. Until next time, everyone.
Bye.
Have a good one.